This is Matador News.
Hi, good afternoon and welcome to Matador News. I'm Janette Mata.
And I'm Ulises Vargas.
Bluebell Creameries is recalling all of its products after discovering that their ice cream has been contaminated with listeria. 3 people have died and 5 others have fallen ill from the bacteria that may have come from the Bluebell products. Bluebell says that documented cases of listeriosis have not extended beyond Kansas and Texas. Bluebell CEO and President Paul Cruz says he promised to make sure all products are safe before they go back on sale.
Raw tuna in sushi could be the reason for a salmonella outbreak in California. Nearly 25 people have already reported getting sick with the disease. This particular strain hasn't been seen in humans or animals until last month. This makes the outbreak challenging, according to health department officials. It has been reported that about 80% of the affected patients have said to have eaten sushi.
Former Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi has been sentenced to 20 years in prison. Morsi was convicted for the torture of protesters outside the presidential palace in 2012. He was cleared of charges involving the murders of the protesters. Morsi was Egypt's first democratically elected president. Before his presidency, he was an assistant professor in the Department of Civil Engineering and Construction Management here at CSUN.
The captain of a ship carrying over 800 African migrants to the Mediterranean Sea has been arrested. 27-year-old Mohammed Ali Malek was arrested earlier today on suspicion of reckless shipwreck. Crew member Mahmoud Behit faced similar charges by Italian prosecutors. The 2 men are allegedly responsible for the capsizing of a ship that left hundreds of African migrants dead. As of now, Italian authorities say that only 28 migrants have been rescued following the devastating accident. Those who were not rescued are presumed dead. Survivors were taken to an Italian detention center. The accident is the deadliest disaster involving migrants crossing the Mediterranean Sea. The migrants are fleeing the upheaval in the Middle East and Northern Africa. The United Nations Refugee Agency says that nearly 1,800 people have died or have gone missing in the Mediterranean Sea this year.
It's Safe Week at Cal State Northridge. Today through Thursday, there will be different events around campus to educate students about sexual assaults. They include art displays, yoga, and self-defense demonstrations. All events will take place at the Student Union.
The California Highway Patrol has cracked down on a street racing gathering in the Broadway, Manchester neighborhood. The CHP arrested 44 people, issued 200 citations, and towed away dozens of cars. The arrests range from drug offenses to warrant arrests. Law enforcement cars boxed in street racing vehicles. The multi-agency operation began around midnight with about 100 officers involved.
Police are looking for 2 Hispanic male suspects who were spotted running from a deadly shooting in Baldwin Park. A man was found shot to death on the front lawn of a home on Cosby Street. The shooting triggered a SWAT standoff just around the corner at a home on Earl Street. Investigators say they have reasons to believe that the home and the people inside may have been connected to the Cosby Street shooting.
The Baltimore Police Department released the names of 6 officers suspended with pay after video surfaced of the arrest of a suspect. The suspect, Freddie Gray, died while in police custody on Sunday. Baltimore's mayor pledged to continue the investigation.
We have had a very challenging history in our city when it comes to trust between the community and the police, and we have to make sure that this investigation goes forward, that it's transparent, and that we actually have independent eyes to take a look at it, because it's too important not to get this right.
Gary suffered a spinal injury while in custody. Cell phone video captured the end of the arrest on April 12th. Gray was placed under arrest after police found a switchblade in his pocket. Video footage shows Gray struggling with police and complaining about the handcuffs and the way the officers were holding his arm. Officials say Gray could walk and talk as he was placed in the police van, but when he was taken out, he couldn't breathe and was later found to have a broken spine. Protesters in the city have erupted over potential police brutality after court documents quoted police as saying the arrest was without incident and without force. The U.S. Justice Department announced last year they were working on a reform initiative with Baltimore police to include assessment of policies and training.
A California appeals court has ruled that a tier water rate structured to encourage saving water is unconstitutional. San Juan Capistrano used a rate structure that charged customers who use small amounts of water a lower rate than customers who use larger amounts. The 4th District Court of Appeals struck down the fee plan and said that it violated Proposition 218, which prevents government agencies from charging more for a service than it costs to provide it. 2/3 of California water providers use some form of the tier rate system. Governor Jerry Brown is against the decision and says it puts a straitjacket on local government at a time when flexibility is needed. Brown says state lawyers are now reviewing the decision.
The Carson City Council will decide later today whether to approve plans for a $1.7 billion football stadium. If not approved, the issue will be put on ballot for voters to decide. The proposed stadium could house the Oakland Raiders and the San Diego Chargers. Both teams are threatening to leave their cities.
And now, here's William with sports, including Team Tebow's new team and the latest on the CSUN softball team.
Thank you, Janet. The CSUN women's tennis season has come to an end. The team lost to Hawaii 4-1 on Sunday. Northridge senior Chris Rodriguez was the only player to earn singles and doubles victories. After that, Hawaii started winning straight sets, leaving CSUN with no chance to come back. The Lady Matadors tennis team finished the season in the fifth spot of the Big West Conference with a record of 14-5 overall. The CSUN ladies softball team swept UC Riverside over the weekend. The Lady Matador success has come from their strong pitching this season. Northridge pitcher Zoe Conley leads the Big West Conference in wins and earned run average. CSUN will try to keep its winning streak alive when they hit the road to visit Long Beach over the weekend. The Matadors have won 37 games this year and lost only 10, and they are a perfect 12-0 in conference. The Los Angeles Clippers couldn't have started their playoff series against the San Antonio Spurs in a better way. The Clippers defeated the Spurs 107-92 in the first round series opener. Los Angeles guard Chris Paul scored 32 points, leading all scorers in the game. The defending NBA champions couldn't keep up with the supercharged Clippers. The second game of the series will be at Staples Center tomorrow night. The Philadelphia Eagles have signed quarterback Tim Tebow to a one-year contract for next season. Tebow will now join the crowded Philadelphia quarterbacks roster and try to get a starting spot. The Eagles offered the 27-year-old player a minimum salary. Tebow has not played in 2 years, and he struggled adjusting to the NFL. Tebow will battle Mark Sanchez, Sam Bradford, and Matt Barkley for the quarterback position. That's all for sports. Back to you, Ulises.
A judge in Utah has sentenced a mother to 30 years in prison for murdering 6 of her babies over a period of 10 years. The husband found the babies in the garage of their home last year. He said he did not know his wife was pregnant for any of the births. The babies were strangled or suffocated immediately after they were born. The mother blamed alcohol and drugs for her actions.
The sentencing phase of the Boston Marathon trial began today. The jury is hearing arguments on whether Sokar Tsarnaev should get the death penalty. He was convicted of the 30 criminal charges. This part of the trial is expected to last up to 4 weeks. The family of the 8-year-old boy that was killed in the bombing has said the death penalty should be taken off the table. They say it will only make them relive the most painful days of their lives.
A 13-year-old boy from a Barcelona school has killed a substitute teacher and wounded 4 others. The boy was armed with a crossbow and a machete. A student says the boy was a loner and other students would pick on him. Under Spanish law, the boy will not face any criminal charges because of his age.
An Indonesian court has convicted an American couple of murdering the woman's mother and stuffing her body in a suitcase. Tommy Schaefer was sentenced to 18 years in suspect with police prison for deadly beating of his girlfriend's mother. His girlfriend, Heather Mack, was sentenced to 10 years for the murder. Indonesia officials arrested the couple last in August, when they were on vacation. An autopsy report shows the victim in court suffered from broken bones and wounds on her hands. The couple told prosecutors that they had plotted to kill her mother because she did not approve of their relationship.
Pope Francis has accepted the resignation of U.S. Bishop Robert Finn. Bishop Finn was the highest-ranking U.S. Catholic Church official convicted in the church's long-running sex abuse scandal. Finn led the Diocese of Kansas City, Missouri. He was found guilty in 2012 for failure to report suspected child abuse. Finn was sentenced to 2 years probation, but was not forced to spend any time in jail or pay a fine. And now here's Frankie with the latest in entertainment news, including a 90s sitcom that is making a comeback, and find out the new artist that will perform at the Billboard Awards.
Thank you, Ulises. The drummer for rock band AC/DC, Phil Rudd, has pleaded guilty to making a death threat and to drug charges. Rudd previously denied all allegations but made a surprise guilty plea yesterday before the trial began. The court summary says that Rudd called an associate and said he wanted his personal assistant taken out. Rudd then called his assistant and said that he was going to kill him. He could face up to 7 years in prison. Rudd will be sentenced on June 26th. Bobby Christina Brown has an irreversible brain damage according to her grandmother. The 22-year-old daughter of Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown is no longer in a medically induced coma but still remains unresponsive. Brown was found unresponsive in a bathtub in her Georgia home earlier this year. The extent of her injuries is unknown. An attorney for the Brown family said the Brown's condition has improved, but the kind of life she will lead remains to be seen. A lineup of artists has been added to perform at this year's Billboard Music Awards. Kelly Clarkson, Ed Sheeran, Meghan Trainor, and John Legend are some of the big names that will be performing live. They'll join other artists like Wiz Khalifa, Hozier, Nick Jonas, and Sam Smith. Ludacris will co-host the show along with Chrissy Teigen. Taylor Swift leads the pack with 14 nominations and is followed by Smith with 13. The 2015 Billboard Music Awards will take place at the MGM Grand Arena on Sunday, May 17th at 8 p.m. You got it, dude. Full House will hold a reunion special and spin-off on Netflix. Co-star John Stamos, a.k.a. Uncle Jesse, announced the news last night on Jimmy Kimmel Live. Stamos will produce and guest star. The show will focus on the eldest daughter, DJ Tanner, and her 3 young boys. The show will be available for streaming next year. The second trailer for the highly anticipated Star Wars sequel was released this past weekend. Twitter erupted with the reaction, most of it enthusiastic. Analysts say that the movie should add roughly $2 billion to the value of the company's stock. Analysts say the film will be a box office smash on its opening weekend. Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, will be released in theaters this holiday season. And that's all we have for entertainment today. Now back to you, Janette.
A Japanese train has set a new world speed record. On an experimental track, the maglev train hit 374 miles per hour. That means it covered 1.1 miles every 11 seconds. Unlike traditional train, this Japanese train uses magnets instead of typical metal tracks. Thank you for watching Matador News. I'm Janette Mata.
I'm Ulises Vargas.
I'm Frankie Benkovic.
And I'm William Ruiz. Have a wonderful day.